There's a good chance you don't have an offshore account. You probably don't try to evade paying taxes either, but thousands of people do, and the massive leak of the so-called Panama Papers has exposed a secret world most Canadians know nothing about. I'm joined now by a man who can help explain it. Jeffrey Robinson is an expert on international financial crime. He's in New York. Mr. Robinson, you say this leak is the chickens coming home to roost. Why?
Oh, yes, yeah. Panama has been a filthy toilet of offshore money, dirty money, of drug trafficking money, from the wonderful people who brought you General Noriega. And it has been just a hellhole of financial shenanigans. And it's taken a long time, but they've finally caught up with Panama, and especially with the two lawyers behind this whole thing, Mr. Jürgen Massac and a man named Raymond Fonseca, who run a law firm called Massac Fonseca. And I got to them in 1998 and outed them. And it's taken this long for anybody to finally get even with them.
Well, to be clear, tax avoidance is legal. Tax evasion is not. How much of what's been revealed so far is, in your view, illegal?
Right. Well, if it's gone through Panama, it's certainly suspect. It'll take a long time before anybody understands whether it's illegal or not. But it's not just tax evasion. It's also dirty money from corporate corruption, political corruption, drug trafficking, illegal arms sales, all sorts of things that the people doing it do not want reported to their home government because the money indicates the crime. So they've got to have a way to hide it someplace. And this ability to hide money is what Panama has provided. You know,
this is a naive question, but if so much of what goes on is shady, why is it allowed to continue?
Well, it's not just Panama. It's Switzerland, and it's the Cayman Islands, and it's the Bahamas. And I might remind you, little known fact, that the offshore world was actually created by Canada. It was a bunch of Canadian banks that went down to the Caymans and the Bahamas and set up to help people evade taxes in Canada. But that's for another day. The point is that there are perhaps as much as $1 trillion in dirty money circling the globe at any given time, looking to get clean, money laundering, looking to somehow evade the authorities. And that $1 trillion represents about 10% of the wealth hidden in the offshore world. So we're talking $10 trillion or somewhere about that hidden in assets in the offshore world that are out of the reach of the authorities. Now, what is it? Well, in a lot of cases, it's criminal money and needs to be found and needs to be disclosed. The one thing that the offshore world does not want is transparency, and it's the one thing that every jurisdiction in the offshore world lies about when they say we're transparent. They're not. They're lying.
Do you think this leak will make any difference?
Well, in the short term, it will. In the short term, people will be caught, and they will have to make explanations to their home governments of why they're hiding this money, why it wasn't declared. In the long term, everybody's known about Panama for ages. I mean, it's 40 years that Panama's been fooling around with this stuff. Will they eventually get clean? No. And the reason is simple, for the same reason that the Swiss, who say, oh, we're transparent now, no more secret bank accounts. They're lying. Of course there aren't. In Switzerland, you're talking about a $3 trillion golden egg of banking secrecy. In Panama, you're talking about not as much, but certainly a huge sum. And the very people who could stop it, the lawyers, the accountants, the brokers, the company formation agents, the bankers, are the very people who are making money doing it. They have no incentive whatsoever to put an end to it. And as long as they're making money, they will continue. The way to stop it is to put them in an orange jumpsuit in a little 6x4 cell with a guy named Bruce who's got 2 fang tattoos on the side of his neck. That sends a message. Nothing else does.
Who do you think leaked this and why?
Somebody wanted to get even with Mr. Massac and Fonseca, the Panamanian lawyers. Somebody really hated them. Whatever nasty those lawyers did to this person, he or she certainly got even, because this is now such a serious blow that their law firm will sink. I don't see how they survive. Hopefully, because I know a lot about them, hopefully they'll both end up in jail. But that's probably a long shot. They're lawyers, and lawyers don't tend to go to jail unless they do terrible, terrible things, which, by the way, they have done.
They say they've done nothing wrong.
Aiding and abetting, in their own way, criminal activity.
They're defending themselves, of course, saying that they've done nothing wrong. They've operated for 40 years.
Yeah. Yeah. They made the bomb and they sold it to the Iranians. And when the Iranians exploded it, they said, well, listen, not our bomb. It's, blame the Iranians. No. The drug traffickers say, if you want to put an end to cocaine problem and heroin problem in Canada, all you have to do is stop the demand. It's not our problem. Of course it is. You're making it. And yes, they should be held responsible. They are contributing to criminal activity in their own way.
Do you think that anyone will be investigated or penalized based on these leaks?
Yeah, I suspect a lot of people will be investigated. Certainly the people who have evaded taxes in their home country. If you suddenly find that whoever in Canada, big name in Canada, has been avoiding taxes by hiding them in through the Panamanian shell companies, or shell companies anywhere in the world, because they could sell them anywhere in the world, then that person in Canada will probably get investigated and fined for tax evasion. Will anything happen to the system in Panama? No, because it's a very, very lucrative system. I mean, I interviewed one of the books, whether it was The Merger or The Sink, about the offshore world. I interviewed a Swiss banker about Swiss banking secrecy. And he said to me, if tomorrow you ended Swiss banking secrecy, made every count transparent, the only thing you would do is move the money from Switzerland to any of the other 80 jurisdictions around the world that have secret banking and cause unemployment in Switzerland. You would not solve the problem, because there are so many people who can make money at it that they will continue to make money at it.
There are some saying today that this is just a sensationalized attack on the wealthy. Why? What do you think of that?
No, it's not a sensationalized attack on the wealthy. It's a really good piece of investigative journalism about a bunch of sleazebags in Panama who are doing what they should not be doing and hiding behind their law degrees to do it.
All right, Jeffrey Robinson, thanks so much. Great talking to you.
My pleasure.